For our Fall of Humanity project, we were assigned the topic sexual assault. So everyone's familiar with sexual assault. I just wanted to give you a brief explanation, if not. So illegal sexual contact that usually involves force upon a person without consent or is inflicted upon a person who is incapable of giving consent because of age or physical/mental incapacity. So when you're researching something, you want to find stats, you want to get proof and exact numbers on what really is going on and how many people are actually affected. So then here's kind of what we were looking at, just some kind of key things, especially this college one that I'm about to tell you in a little bit. 35% of women globally have experienced physical or sexual violence. 120 million girls have experienced forced sex or other sexual acts. And then 11.2% of all college students throughout America experience some type of sexual assault while in school. And I think that's a big one for us right now because we're all at that age, and we're all kind of around like the same age group. So it's like, it's very eye-opening. Kind of, you just want to be aware for that and just know that it goes on, especially in our age and like at younger ages as well. And then, unfortunately, only 20% of females report the assault to law enforcement. So then on the right, on our diagram there, we got reasons victims cited for not reporting. So it kind of just shows all the different reasons why the victims of sexual assault wouldn't want to report. And then there's just percentages on the left and the right that kind of could just tell you really the number of people that didn't want to report. And all those numbers honestly shouldn't be that high because there's no reason that you shouldn't report it because it's a heinous crime.
Some more statistics about sexual assault. 1 out of every 6 women will be a victim of an attempted or completed rape in their lifetime. Every 98 seconds, an American is being sexually assaulted, and every 8 minutes, that victim is a child. All these assaults are happening per year, and only 6 of every 1,000 perpetrators will end up in prison, which means a large majority of these perpetrators are still walking the streets. Sexual assault is not a crime of passion. It all comes down to a strong desire for sex, whether it's consensual or not. Sexual assaults are typically violent crimes that are driven by a desire for dominance over the victim. Sexual assaults typically occur because the perpetrator believes that they are entitled to have sex or sexual contact without another person's consent. A prime example of this would be at a party. Oh, well, this girl has been dancing with me all night, so she must want to have sex. No, that does not mean that there's consent just because she was dancing with you. You ultimately still have to get this consent, and if you don't, it's assault. Some ways that we can prevent sexual assault would be promoting social norms that protect against the violence. This includes simply getting involved and taking action if you see a potential assault taking place, whether it's your best friend or somebody completely random. A lot of assaults can be stopped before they even begin by taking action and saying something. We've ultimately also have to teach skills to prevent sexual violence. This includes like sexual assault and consent seminars explaining what consent is and all of the aspects of consent. You've also have to provide opportunities to support girls and women. This includes youth groups, mentorships, and really anything that allows young women to develop into women and guides them through their adolescent years. And ultimately, we've also have to create supportive environments in the workplace, even in schools. Like if somebody comes up and explains, hey, I've been sexually assaulted, you've got to have a large support system, and you've ultimately have to be able to take action up against the violator.
Victims of sexual assault usually have 3 different effects: a psychological effect, emotional effect, and physical effect. A psychological effect includes suicide, lack of sleep, and an eating disorder. When they have an emotional effect is such as dissociation and depression, and their physical effect can be sexual transmitted disease, pregnancies, and self-harm. The majority of sexual assault victims are usually under 30 years old. Between 18 and 34, the percentage is 54. Between 12 and 17 is 15. Between 35 and 64 is 28. And the age 65 and above is 3%. Perpetrators of sexual violence are less likely to go to jail or prison than other criminals. 7 out of 10 sexual assaults are committed by someone who knows the victim. Of cases reported to law enforcement, 93% of juvenile victims know the perpetrator. Often, perpetrators have a criminal past. Out of 1,000 sexual assault cases, 994 will walk free. Oftentimes, there is a ripple effect of sexual assault. Secondary victims of sexual assault are usually non-perpetrator family members, partners, friends, and children of victims/survivors are affected by sexual assault and its aftermath. Secondary victims can cause more harm to the victim with negative or inappropriate remarks about their sexual assault, often experience the effect of trauma, similar symptoms to the primary victim, and sometimes secondary victim support for the secondary victim will only strengthen the support network for the victim/survivor of sexual assault.
What the Bible says against sexual assault. In the book Deuteronomy chapter 22 verses 25 and 26, it clearly states, "But if out in the country a man happens to meet a young woman pledged to be married and rapes her, only the man who has done this shall die. Do nothing to the woman, she has committed no sin deserving death." These two verses are clearly stating that the person who commits this sin should be the only one to endure any consequences, as the victim did not do anything wrong. Similar to those verses, in the Ten Commandments, it states, "You shall not commit adultery." These two coincide with one another, as a morally right individual should never commit this crime, and is a sin and a reality that no one on earth deserves to experience.